Hi, my name is Aaron Curtis. I I've really enjoyed this class. I've learned quite a bit. I feel like I still have quite a lot more to learn. Uh, no means claiming to be an expert in Java at this point, but I did have a lot of fun, and this was actually a really fun project to work on with my classmates. So I'm going to go ahead and get into my presentation now. One of the first cases we're supposed to talk about or explain the difference between a static class variable and a non-static uh, instance variable. Uh, and so the static method belongs to the class itself, and a non-static method belongs to each object that's generated from that class. Um, so I went through some of the code that I've written with my group, and I found a couple examples of these. So for example, here in the stop to rest um, option, if I can find the right one, stop to rest, number 6, 7, 4 down. I keep passing it, I apologize. Stop to rest right here. We've got um, a non-static, and one of the things that visually as a new learner kind of sets it apart is that you're creating a new separate view of this with that. Then with the first static here in the game menu view as well, we have the display the map in that you'll notice that it's just slightly different the way um, this here displays and it's coded uh, and I'm catching on to it. I noticed some of the differences here, the new view, um, etc. Now we're all supposed to demonstrate through examples from our program, understanding when to use an array, an enum, etc. And a couple of examples of this here. For example, the item list category that we have is an enum list. Um, an enum list, I honestly, it sounded very, it was kind of hard and confusing for me to get to understand. But really, what it is it's a non-changing list is what it is, um, and it helped me. It's not truly an array, I guess you could say, but it helped me think of it almost as an array, in that it's something that can be reused in other methods of the overall program for referencing, etc. And so it's something really helped me with that. Now, an array list, an example of that we can find in the item control right here. And this here is our array list that actually uses the same items as in the enum list. Uh, and so this is basically just an option that this coding here allows us to um, set specific information for the different items. For example, right here, the oxen, $40 or 40 per oxen, and etc. It helps us set the name and additional information about that specific item, and then you go through the rest of the list or the array. Now, we're supposed to also go through examples of code that we wrote, how to use basic statement and an index to go through and access each element stored in an array or an array list. And I'm going right back to the game menu view. I realized as I was preparing for this demonstration that I have done a lot more in the game menu view than I originally thought. And here we're going to look at display items. This is something I wrote, uh, and it's not very complicated. It's not high end. However, basically what this does is it's a for loop that goes through and it displays items you have, gives you the name plus or name a dash, and then the item, and then it pulls in the item quantity as well. And as it's a loop, it goes through and does that for each item in the array list. And this array list I've shown you already once before. Now, demonstrating the example I've written. On this next one, for for being able to catch, excuse me, of how to throw, propagate, and catch custom runtime errors in the program. I just couldn't remember which one I wrote. A lot of this, the error coding we did not individually, but assisted quite a bit as a group, and I couldn't remember exactly which one I wrote personally. But what I did remember is in the restart game view here on this page, I was earlier this week, I was going through and testing, looking for errors in the game, trying to just progress the overall coding, make sure that we weren't missing anything simple. And one thing I noticed is that in this particular error, no matter what I typed, I would get an error, but it would still progress me into the game, whether I had a saved game or not. And so through troubleshooting, and I actually determined it was a fairly simple issue to resolve, is that the next view or display was set incorrectly. So instead of having it go to the game menu view into here, where they would see, continue and show check supplies, I figured it was better for them to, because if you don't have a save game, you're going to start a new game. And so the next step in starting a new game, after you've already written your name, which at this point in the game you would have given your name, would be to create your party. And after that wagon party, then you go into, you progress toward a little bit more towards the game menu view. So it was in the end a fairly simple fix, but it took a good bit of testing and looking through the code to figure out exactly the best way of how to correct that. Now, the next step, we're supposed to explain when and why a character stream class should be used versus a byte stream class to read and write data to a file. I read up on this. I wanted to be able to sound a little bit more intelligently. I'll make no claims that I will, but I tried. Uh, as I was studying about this, the easiest way I could find to differentiate between the two types is that a character string class should be used to access primarily text files, whereas a byte stream are used to read and write basic input and output. So it's a really basic, I guess, rule of thumb, you could say, and you can use them for reading and writing files of other types. But I found various articles and posts saying that it's not effective. It increases issues within your programming, etc. Now I get to do the fun part. I get to demonstrate the game for you. And you can see that I actually haven't closed this out since I was working on it previously. Oh, I've got to make a push action. So I'll do that here in just a little bit. Actually, no, I don't need to. I apologize. I did push. But let's go ahead and play some Oregon Trail here. Just waiting for it to load up here. So asking for my name. At this point, you click anywhere. I know it's basic. I apologize. Click anywhere you want on the screen, and it'll only allow you to input in one place. Welcome to the game, Aaron. There we go. There are a couple options. I can go to get help. I did spend quite a bit of time on the get help, making sure that it recorded that all the options actually did what we wanted them to do, and adding additional information. For example, some grammar issues, corrected them, added additional information, frequently asked questions, etc. So, for example, frequently asked questions. There, I didn't put a whole lot of time, but I did throw a couple in there. How long has the game been around? Well, it actually was first published in 1971. What's different about this version? Well, it's a fun programming uh, project for some students and myself from BYU, Idaho. What are some interesting facts about the game? There was a sequel to the game. There have actually been many sequels. One of them was called Yukon Trail. Oregon Trail is the world's longest running video game franchise. It's actually been running longer than Pong. The game Oregon Trail was inducted into the World Video Game Hall of Fame not too long ago, just back in 2016. Just some interesting facts I threw in there. I quit. I apologize. Let's start the game over here. There we go. Sorry about that. Did not mean to quit the game, but I did. Then you can restart game. I don't have a save game, so that's not going to do anything. Travel the trail. To start the game, I'm going to organize a wagon party. One, and give my guy some names. I've always liked QWERTY. And there you are. And then I'm going to hit 6 just to continue on. I can pick any of the careers. Just go be a banker. It gives me most money. Well, let's check 4. Find out the difference between them. I'll go in and change that here in just a moment. But I'm going to pick a banker, and now we're in Matt's General Store. So this is really where the game truly begins right here, is where you're able to purchase items from the store prior to starting. So let's just make it quick and purchase a few things. Of course, oxen. And how many do I want? Let's say 6. Then let's buy some food because that's important. Let's say 1,500. And you'll notice that as I make these purchases, these are total amounts for the 6 oxen, 1,500 food. The funds remaining actually goes down. You can see that. And as I scroll up, you'll see that I started with 1,600. And so it's well. Then C to continue. And what am I going to do? Check supply, display the map. Let's display the map here. It's a pretty simple map, but hey, it works. Let's set my pace at, let's just go strenuous pace. Then let's go to continue on trail. And this, honestly, when I was testing, this is something that kind of threw me for a loop. I was like, I don't know if it's working. So I would hit 1, and then would hit 1, and then would hit 1. And I was like, oh man, it's in a loop. It's not working properly. What can I do? But then, look at that. We've actually visited all those places. So it's working. It's kind of fun progressing along. And that, in essence, is our game. Continue on playing. You can get sick, die, lose a game, cross, and or you can get to the end. And once you get to the end, we've got the game set up so once you hit the 2,000-mile mark, that's essentially you arriving in Oregon, which is what the original Oregon Trail does. Its approximate length. You win the game. And I'm not going to play the whole game through on this presentation. It would take too much time. But we are proud of the game. Had a lot of fun making it. And thank you very much. Bye.